Today, we're diving into a story about a place steeped in some seriously chilling folklore. We're heading to a stretch of the Indian coastline that's known less for its sun and sand, and way more for its lingering shadows and, well, whispers from the past. This is the story of Duma Beach.
Our story really kicks off with this warning, something that's been passed down for generations. One of our main characters, a guy named Meyer, was told this by his own grandmother. You know, it's the kind of old folklore that immediately sets a tone, right? It suggests that some places have rules, and you break them at your own peril.
So, how does a fun trip with friends spiral into something else entirely? Well, it all starts with a single decision, basically a dare to venture right into the darkness. So, meet the crew. We've got 5 college friends, Mayur, Kushal, Neil, Ria, and Arav. And they're kind of bored with the usual vacation spots. They wanted a real adventure, something they'd actually remember. And that's when Mayur, almost offhandedly, suggests a place near his village, Duma's Beach, a name that just sounds interesting. Now, Meyer didn't learn about Dumas Beach from some travel blog or Instagram post. Nope. His knowledge came from these hushed, serious stories that the elders in his village would tell. And these weren't tales about scenic views or beautiful sunsets. They were warnings. Now, to be fair, the group wasn't being completely reckless. They knew about the beach's reputation, so they made a plan, a pact, really. They'd stay at Mayer's village, take a 2-hour trip to the beach, and this was the crucial part, only during the day. The main rule was to be long gone before the sun even started to set. So, when they finally get there, the place feels surprisingly normal. The beach's whole sinister reputation seems totally at odds with the lively scene that's right in front of them. And this really gets to the heart of it, the two faces of this beach. By day, it's like a carnival out there. Kids running around with balloons, families laughing, food stalls everywhere. But the legends tell a completely different story after dark. One filled with disembodied voices, strange smells, and just this absolute paralyzing fear. So as they're walking along, taking it all in, Rian notices something that just feels off, something that doesn't fit with all the cheerful chaos. It's the sand. It isn't golden, it's not white, it's this deep, unnatural, almost ashy black. And that simple question is where the happy facade really starts to crack. The answer is pretty chilling. For centuries, this exact shoreline was a Hindu cremation ground. Now, geologists might say the color is from a high concentration of iron, but on Duma's Beach, folklore is a lot more powerful than science. The local belief, the one everyone there holds to, is that the black sand isn't just dark. It's the built-up ash from countless funeral pyres. They're literally walking on the remains of the dead. And as if on cue, this tired-looking old man walks up to them. He speaks in a local dialect, his voice kind of cold and flat, and he tells them this is a place where bodies were once buried, not just burnt. He ends with this really haunting line, "Many people sleep underneath." It's the first direct, in-person warning they get. And here we are. This is the turning point. A single moment of curiosity, one bad decision that just shatters the group and completely seals the fate of 2 of them. Kushal spots something way off in the distance, what looks like the skeleton of an old building. He's intrigued, he wants to go explore. But the others, they're getting uneasy. The sun is getting lower, that old man's words are still ringing in their ears, and a pretty heated debate breaks out. And just look how fast everything falls apart. In just 35 minutes, a group of 5 becomes a group of 2. At 4 p.m., Kushal is insisting they go check out the ruins. By 4:15, Ria and Arav have had enough and turn back. 15 minutes later, even after they get there, Neil gets a really bad feeling and just takes off. And by 4:35, it's just Mayur and Kushal, all alone. So what do they find at these mysterious ruins? A rusted sign, and it confirms their absolute worst fears. They haven't just stumbled upon some old shack. They've walked right into the authorized area of the old cremation ground, the very heart of all those haunted legends. The sun finally dips below the horizon. The temperature drops, and for Mayur and Kushal, the ordeal is really just beginning. When they finally turn around to leave, they're hit with this terrifying new reality. The beach is empty. The crowds, the vendors, everyone is just gone. And in that sudden twilight, all the landmarks have disappeared. They realize with this dawning horror that they are completely and totally lost. What happens next is just a complete sensory assault. First come the whispers, these sweet, soft voices just calling their names on the wind. One sounds exactly like Mayur's grandmother, who had vanished years ago. Then the air gets heavy with the unmistakable smell of a burning funeral pyre. Then they see it, a phantom procession charging right at them, chanting Hindu funeral rites. Out of nowhere, a pack of spectral dogs surrounds them, barking like crazy, only to just vanish into thin air. And finally, as they're running towards the water, this massive, glowing figure just rises up from the waves.
Their helplessness was just absolute. Every logical thing they tried to do completely backfired. Tried to call for help? The line drops and both their phones die. They run away from one horror only to run straight into another one. There was no escape. Every single move just pulled them deeper into this nightmare.
Mayer glances at his phone one last time just before it goes dead. The screen glows, 12 a.m., midnight. The chaos of voices and smells and horrifying sights just becomes overwhelming. Their minds, their bodies, they just can't take anymore, and they collapse, unconscious, on the black sand.
So the sun rises on a new day, but the darkness from the night before, that is far from over. This is the aftermath.
Their friends, of course, were frantic with worry. They came back with a search party from the village, and they find Mayur and Kushal near those old ruins, passed out by the water. They're soaked, covered head to toe in sand, and completely unresponsive. When they're finally brought back to the village, they're both burning up with this dangerously high fever. Once the fever finally breaks, they shakily tell everyone about the impossible things that happened that night. But even after the physical sickness is gone, the psychological trauma, the memory of what they saw and heard, that remains, buried deep. And this, for me, is maybe the most chilling detail of the whole story. The experience never really left them. We're told that years later, Mayer is still haunted. He still wakes up screaming in the middle of the night, not from seeing something horrible, but from the phantom smell of a funeral pyre that isn't even there. So what really happened out there? Was it mass hysteria, a spooky story that just got out of hand, or was it something more? It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? If some places, just like people, can hold on to memories of pain and sorrow, and if maybe, just sometimes, those memories can reach out and touch the living.